Hello darlings, and welcome back to my channel. So today we do a review on this L'Oreal Paris Infallible Total Cover Up to 24-Hour Wear Foundation. And let's go ahead and talk about the packaging first. Absolutely love it. Very simple, very clean, to the point. I really like how you actually go ahead and see like the foundation color in the packaging right here. So on the back right here, it has like a description of like the product, and then it has your ingredients listed out. Alright, so I know that this foundation actually came out like a while ago, and when I was actually choosing my colors, having difficulty time choosing between two shades, because for those of you guys who have seen me about makeup know that I have like a lot, and I mean like a lot of like freckles and a lot of like red lines all over my cheek area, and I definitely wanted a shade that like covers everything, but then also a shade that matches like to like the color of my neck. So I finally settled down on this shade, and I have to say this shade is not what I expected it to be, because you know when you go ahead and look at the shade from the packaging, like you kind of have an idea of what the shade color is going to look like when you squeeze it out. So when I went to go ahead and squeeze it out onto my hand, the shade was like almost exactly the same, but then when you go ahead and apply it onto your skin and like rub it in, it's like totally different from what I expected. It was lighter, and I was like, oh my goodness. I was like thinking to myself, like, is this like a foundation that would actually oxidize maybe like after an hour or so? So I waited exactly 1 hour, and I checked my face again, and the product definitely did not oxidize, and the shade just made me look like I was like, I want to say kind of like ghost looking, like you know when you apply sunscreen and when you don't rub it in fully, you kind of look like a ghost. And as for this foundation shade, I feel like I kind of felt like that. Like it was just, I know that it was just too light for me. And if you're wondering, did it go ahead and cover everything on my face? I would say not exactly. It definitely did go ahead and cover like all of like my red lines, but I noticed that my freckles did go ahead and peep through a little bit, even though I did add like a second and third layer to those areas, but it was still peeping through. So I would say, as for this foundation, I want to say it has good coverage, like high coverage, but not full coverage. And also what I really like about this is that when you go ahead and squeeze it out from the tube, like it looks really like, it looks very thick, very heavy, but when you go to apply it on, it's like so lightweight, so airy, which of course, if you guys have tried like really like heavy foundation, like cream foundation, know that they tend to get really heavy, and then they kind of like weigh you down, or like wear you down a little bit, and like as the day goes through, you know, you kind of get really tired. But for this one, it was nothing like that. So I really like how it's like so airy, so lightweight, and also that kind of gives you, I want to say like a semi-matte slash like a semi kind of like a radiant finish. So it's like in between, so it's kind of like a natural slash demi matte finish. Does that make sense? It's like an in-between kind of finish, which I definitely do like. If you guys have been watching me, I am like obsessed with like matte, like literally anything matte, like liquid lipsticks, the matte foundation, matte whatever. I'm just like so obsessed with matte. But anyways, so I did go ahead and test this foundation for 18 hours, which I feel like it is like a really long time, 18 hours. So I checked every 4 hours. So the first 4 hours I wore it, everything was still in place, everything was still good, and then I checked back another 4 hours, so I was like 8 hours later, everything was still good, nothing was gone, everything was still in my face. I'm actually quite amazed. And then I checked back another 4 hours, and I noticed that a little bit of foundation, especially on my nose area, was slowly fading away, which I feel like it tends to happen with a lot of foundation. Like I always lose foundation on my nose first. So I checked back another 4 hours later, so right now we're at 16 hours, and I noticed that my chin right here started losing a bit of foundation. Also my forehead started losing foundation too. Finally, after another 2 hours, I decided to remove my makeup because I was actually getting ready for bed, and I was really tired and I didn't want to go ahead and wear this foundation anymore. And right before I took off my makeup, I noticed that especially around my cheek area, I started to lose a little bit of foundation too. So overall, I would have to say this foundation does hold up pretty well, especially for 18 hours. And I highly do not suggest anyone test out foundation, or at least wear foundation for 24 hours like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, because it is actually really bad for your skin. So if any of you guys are thinking about picking up this foundation, I would highly suggest maybe like going for like a shade that is a little bit darker than you usually get. And I know that it is a little bit hard to choose shades, especially since this is like a drugstore product, and usually you don't get to go ahead and test out like drugstore like things before you're going to purchase it. So yeah, well, that is it for today's video, and I shall catch you guys later. Bye.